Hello, welcome to Jeff's 5 for the week of May 28th, 2015. Hard to believe we're at the end of May already. Feels like we just kind of started that not that long ago, but it kind of flew by. Some of that, I guess, for me may have been I was on vacation last week with the New York-centric episode. Anyway, we're back on Thursdays, where we're supposed to be, and let's get started with this week's 5. Number 1 this week is the release of Bill Konigsberg's new book, The Porcupine of Truth. This came into my Kindle on Tuesday, and I was ecstatic to find it when I got up in the morning. I actually knew it was coming, and I was kind of looking for it even on Tuesday night. Sometimes the Kindle books drop in on East Coast time, but this one didn't quite seem to do that for me. Anyway, I'm a few chapters in. I'm loving the 17-year-old Carson, who is the narrator of the book so far. Probably get it done in the next week or two. If I can read enough. Always excited to get his books. Openly Straight from a couple years ago was brilliant. His debut from about 4 or 5 years ago now, Out of the Pocket, remains one of my very favorite gay YA sport books. Definitely pick up his books if you get the chance. I'll be linking up to some stuff in the title cards for the video so you can check him out. He's also out on some book tour stuff, so who's in your neighborhood, check it out. Number 2, I'm a little late talking about Voice and Dancing with the Stars since those ended last week. But with the New York-centric episode last week, I didn't really get a chance to talk about it. For The Voice, I'm psyched that Sawyer won. Worked out just kind of like I thought it would, that it would get down to him and Megan. And it was great to see him win because he really delivered some great performances throughout the season. And the stuff that he did in the finale was pretty extraordinary. I'll link up to at least one of those performances. On the Dancing with the Stars side, yeah, I'm disappointed that Noah didn't win. I really thought his great story with really the artistry he brought to his dances would propel him into first place for that. On the other hand, Rumor's been strong all year, certainly delivered some beautiful performances in the finale, in particular the tango that she did I think it was in the actual performance finale and not in the results show from that week. But I'll link up to that in the icon up here, so you can check that out if you missed it. All in all, great Dancing with the Stars season. See who's covered in the fall, because it's always a matter of the celebrities that will determine how good the show is. And I'll definitely be back to check out The Voice again in the fall, too, since this was my first season with it. Reality TV is not over. American Ninja Warrior started this week, and so far that first episode was good with some wacky new stuff on the obstacle course. Probably won't talk about that as much as I will So You Think You Can Dance, which starts up on Monday the 1st. Once they're out of the auditions and into the actual performance show, I wouldn't be surprised if I talk about that maybe every week, unless it gets maybe too annoying. Okay, number 3 this week is possibly a little weird, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So, shortly after we moved into the house here, we discovered that there were hummingbirds in the neighborhood because they were feeding off of some of the neighbors' flowers that we could see from the kitchen. So I was really into putting up a hummingbird feeder, and when spring rolled around this year, we found a nice one to hang up outside the window. And I have to say that I'm just kind of giddy with excitement every time that a hummingbird shows up outside the window, which is becoming almost a daily event now. The first couple weeks it was up, I don't think it was on the hummingbird feeding circuit, if you will. But lately, especially since I've been back from vacation, about once a day at least, I can look up from my desk and see the hummingbird at the feeder. And it's really cool watching them sit there, suspended in air, drinking out of the thing. Kind of ridiculous that it excites me as much as it does, but it does, so it made the 5 this week. Number 4 this week goes back to a book that I read before I started doing the 5. Becky Albertalli's debut novel, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, is probably on my all-time best list for YA books. It's just a wonderful story, and I had the chance to talk to Becky yesterday as part of the show that I do called YA Yay over on Writers Online Network. It was a great conversation. I think if you're a fan of the book, or if you're just a writer who likes to hear about other writers talk about what they did to get where they are, it's a really good listen. She took the traditional publishing route. This is her first book, as I mentioned, and she got enough push from HarperCollins that the way that I discovered her was because she was written up the week of release in Entertainment Weekly, and they gave her an A for the book. And she mentioned also that she'd gotten reviewed by O Magazine and some other places. So it's proof that you can actually get success as a first-time author and get some marketing push out of one of the big five, which is cool, but also the book is just extraordinary. So I recommend the book, and I recommend that you hop on over to Blog Talk Radio and give a listen to the interview that was done. I'll link to that in the individual related links, because that won't be able to go up in the eye icon based on the YouTube rules that I'm learning more about every week. 5 this week is the Cycle for the Cause ride, hence the t-shirt that I'm wearing today. This ride is a 275-mile ride that goes from Boston to New York every September, and it raises money for the HIV/AIDS services at the LGBT Community Center in New York City. This is my 6th year to do the ride, only my 5th year to actually ride a bike in it, because last year I crewed, since moving across the country kind of damaged my training schedule. I go back to New York even again this year because the ride's super important to me. I've met so many people who this ride helps support, either with prevention services or help them get through their lives because they have the disease and need support for one thing or another. Whether it's help getting their prescriptions filled, help dealing with their insurance, maybe some emotional support, some family support. It does so many things for so many good people. I raise about $4,000 a year for this. I would love to get towards 5 this year. So if you're watching and you can spare some money, no amount is too little to donate. The link will be in the eye icon if I can put it there. Otherwise, it'll be on the YouTube page as well as the blog, depending on where you watch the video. I'm sure you'll hear me talk about this a few more times as my training continues towards September. And I plan to have the camera with me on the ride this year too, so that I can take some video and probably bring some stuff back for the 5 come September. So anything you can do to help out would be so much appreciated. That's it for the 5 this week. Thanks for joining as usual. Please leave some comments either on the blog or on YouTube. Let me know what you think of the show, and I will see you back here next Thursday.